There he is.
Hey, boys and girls, this is a Monday after 4th of July weekend. I got all 10 fingers left, and look who I got sitting down with us today. Oh, you boys and girls are gonna like this. This is Stir the Pot with Kincaid, and I am here. Collectively, they are known as Zoltan, but separately, we have the absolute Kris Kage, and we have superstar Whiplash with us today. Again, collectively called Zoltan. I don't want to try to do it because I.
On top, Don. Left hand on top. There you go. Very nice.
I apologize for that. We did not want to start on the wrong foot. Even though I am. Even
shirt.
hey,
Yeah, the shirt is not good, bro. You're already starting on the wrong foot.
well, it's brand new HOP merch, and just trying to support the boys, if you will. So sorry. Well, not a good start, but that's okay because I didn't expect this to be a smooth sailing episode here. But you guys, my goodness, I wore this for a purpose, two purposes: to stir the pot a little bit, and second off, that's the first time I ever met you both. Was at PAPW Friday Night Alley Fights in East Haven for Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. For you that don't know, we have a lot of fun over there. And that's the first time that I ever met Zoltan collectively. And, man, never knew who you were. You guys are out of NYC. Is that correct, sirs?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. I'm out of Connecticut. We have a little bit of distance. Not too bad. But you guys came in, and it was against the HOP. You were looking for those straps. We really didn't get a finale to that, really. I would have liked to see more come out of that whole storyline for me as a fan. But it is what it is. Maybe we'll see that in the future. You never know, because the Zoltan are everywhere. But enough of me rambling. I really want to talk about the first time I met you guys. You came out, you kicked the ass, you do this crazy, and I do mean crazy finisher. And me and my dad, I take my dad to all the shows, and holy shit, boys and girls. Whew, talk about making an impact in PAPW. Wow. Can we just start there? And I mean, I go back and forth in timeline, so just kind of follow me, and we'll just have some fun together. If that's okay, Zoltan. If that's okay.
That's absolutely fine. I remember exactly what you're talking about. You're mentioning when the Zoltan showed up on the scene in PAPW. Friday Night Alley Fights. I remember you were there. You had the camera out. And it was, like you said, all about the HOP, the team that claims to be from the NYC. But as we all know, they moved up to Connecticut and set up their camp, set up shop over there, right, brother? And came back home. That's probably one of the reasons why you don't get that finished business you may be searching for as a fan. Trust me, I know we want it. The ball is more in the House of Pain's court. And when you're talking about the finisher, you know what he's talking about, brother? He's talking about the tidal wave.
Is that what you're talking about? The jump off the top rope?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
That's it. Pretty much the most dangerous finisher in wrestling today. And if you're on the receiving end of it, you pretty much know that it's the end of the night for you.
As a fan, you guys came out. You use your words very well. We like to talk character and stuff on this show. I love to talk about everything that makes what a good wrestler, well, in my eyes, in my opinion, what I perceive a good wrestler needs. And there's so many things. I feel that it's one of the hardest things to do in the entire universe to become a wrestler, in all honesty, with all of everything that it takes. But when you guys came out, your promo skills, man, very sharp, very on point. You knew what you wanted to say, and you said, woo, you say it loud, you say it proud, and we heard you. Not only that, but your gear looks pretty good. You came out with solid gear. Didn't look all like me and Laura C. I don't know if you know. I call her sister. Sister Laura C. We call Basuda. It didn't look like Basuda. You guys came out and you look good. And not only that, but your moveset and all of that. And I didn't get to really see you do a whole lot that night because there was a lot of going on. But All of that just alone caught my eyes, caught my dad's eyes, and some of those PAPW fans. So as a fan, I appreciate the package, if you will, that the Zoltan, don't say the, they don't like that. I appreciate the package that Zoltan brings to us, the fans. I thank you for that, both of you.
You're welcome, sir. See, I guess my response to that would be that there is one word that you use that is a little bit offensive, Don. When you kicked this off and you kicked the question off, you said you like to talk character. And you see, I think that's what sets the Zoltan apart from everybody else, especially everyone that you're getting to see in PAPW. I don't play no character. The guy sitting right next to me, he don't play no character. So when you hear me come out and you hear me get on that mic and you hear those words come out of my mouth, that's coming from my heart because I absolutely believe what's coming out of my mouth. And when I come out and I tell the HOP that when the Zoltan are in the building, they are not the best tag team in the building, I mean that with every fiber of my being.
Mr. Superstar Whiplash, we say on this show, and it's been said a few times, more than a few, I guess, you men and women that come out and present your characters, quote unquote, like Mr. Cage just said, there is no character. This is us just kind of, for wrestling, if you will, kind of amped up when you come through those curtains. But we say that those make the best wrestlers and personas in the business because you don't have to take all of this time and making a character and a gimmick and everything from scratch with a storyline. So, Mr. Superstar, do you feel that just kind of presenting yourself amped up a little bit for us and the wrestling world? Don't you feel that it's a lot more comfortable than have to try to make a character?
You saying just the same thing like being myself, just amped up. Catch me on the right day, and I don't even have to be amped up. That's me all the time.
Wow. Man, when you guys say there is no gimmick, I mean, boys and girls, I've met a couple of the talented men and women on the scene. When they say there's no gimmick, we are sitting with two that are, and it's no kayfabe. There's no kayfabe. It is what it is.
Let me ask you a question, Don.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, that night when we showed up, when we did what we did, at the end of the night, we showed up on the Kincaid Files. We interviewed with you personally. You got to experience what we're about face to face, right up close and personal in front of that camera. And let me ask you, did you feel like I was putting this on? Did you feel like he was putting this on?
No, because I remember that specifically with the light coming off the side of the building. And as soon as I hit the stop button, I looked at both of you and said these words, and I know I said them. You guys are fucking money. I love you both. And you guys coming to PAPW and being introduced to us, the fans that didn't know. And that's why I like this show, sirs. Because we want more eyes on the wrestlers that we don't know or the promotions that we don't know, because us wrestling fans, we try to keep an eye on the pulse as much as we can, but we don't know all of the talent and all of the promotions out there. So when a company in our area, like PAPW does, they bring in talent from different areas, which was very cool for me to be introduced to guys like you. And even HOP, because they're not originally from that area, but like you guys said, they've kind of made CT their home instead of the NYC. So I kind of want to pose this question. Is there a history, is there a history between the HOP and Zoltan out of NYC at all? Because I feel there's some kind of thing going on well before you guys ever showed up to PAPW.
Actually,
everything they know.
My brother could take that over. He could tell you the origin story.
They like, you on some real personal shit right now, Don? You want to say?
He's trying to stir the pot,
right?
Hey, whatever you want to give us, we're here, my friend.
Well, I trained the House of Pain as well as Certified Sexy, and so Yeah, if there is any history, I'm there for everything.
Didn't
Now,
see that coming.
you know what I'm saying? Don't be cutting me off, Don. They think they hot shit now. Move to CT. Ducking, that's why.
I don't know. They say they are tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
But in order to be tag team wrestling, you got to be willing to take on anybody from anywhere at any time. And the House of Pain knows that the Zoltan want to step into the ring with them one more time. That's right, Don. You could call us the Zoltan if you want. I like the way that sounds because sometimes it just gets so big that you can't even contain it in one word. You got to turn it into two. Almost got a little excited.
I can maybe feel that because you know me when I get to the shows and I do Dr. K's and I you know it's almost like I'm on the Kokana, if you will, but I'm not. I swear I'm not. It's just
No judgment.
I'm not judging.
yeah, it's just the passion for wrestling and a little bit of Mountain Dew. But my point being is you know I'm excited as a fan, and when I get to the shows, you guys really excite me because I caught on to you guys from the first time I seen you come through that curtain with your words and your presence, like I said earlier. So I try to catch as much as I can with my eye because my brain, you know, we know that Donkey Kate ain't that bright. So I gotta visually see what's going on, and I try to soak as much as I can. And man, you guys really, I latched on to the Zoltan, and I'm my point being is, I've never called you Zoltan. I always want to say the Zoltan. Two reasons. Again, I'm excited, like you were saying, Mr. Cage. Very excited when I talk wrestling and all of this. But no, reason number two is I was in a band for about, I don't know, six plus years, okay? And we were doing all of the hair band stuff, the Motley Crue, the White Snake and Rat and Poison and you name it. And we were doing it. My singer's name is Zoltan. I shit you not. He was my singer for years and years. So whenever I met you guys, I had to separate the two of you because I even said my dad after work, he goes, hey, I saw you had an interview. Who are you interviewing today? I go, Zoltan. He goes, oh, tell him I said hi. I go, no, Pop, see, that's why I have to do this. The Zoltan. He goes, oh, I love those guys. Tell him I said hi. See that? That's what I'm talking about, though. In my circle,
Pops is a smart guy.
yeah, in my circle, I have to separate. So I get caught up by calling you guys the Zoltan, and I apologize because of that. But enough of my rambling again, because I can go on and on. Let's talk about you guys as a tag team. I mean, holy shit. If you guys, there is no way you've only been together 1, 2, 3, 5, not even probably 10 years. Because when the professionalism, the way you guys go together, the promos, you work off of one another, the whole ad-libbing thing. Please tell us, the fans, how long have you guys been in the game? And I'm very, very interested to hear the answer to this. Who trained you guys? I am so curious on that.
Well, if you wanna go origin story back to the beginning, you gotta take it about 21 years back in time. The first time the superstar and myself linked up, it was circa 1999. Very attitude type of time, if you know what I'm talking about. And both our loves and passions for professional wrestling and, like I mentioned before, a similarity in attitude made us very close very fast. And then if you want to jump to the wrestling portion of that, we were officially trained by Joel Maximo of the SAT in 2011. Graduated 2012, and we've been pretty much rocking it ever since.
There it is.
Now, both of you together, training, going through the whole thing together.
Yes,
We
sir.
have experienced everything together pretty much. Our training, we broke in together. Wrestling school, our very first wrestling class was standing side by side with each other. We learned our first hold, our first bump, we climbed to the top rope together for the first time. So pretty much everything you see when you get us in presentation is the manifestation of us spending almost every waking moment together inside that ring, uh, wrestling together, wrestling against each other, spending hours and hours and weeks and months beating each other to a pulp just to get better and learn how to do this.
Obviously, behind the closed doors, I'm assuming, is where most of that one-on-one, if you will, in the training sessions or what have you. But I'm very curious. You guys have been a tag team from the very get. I mean, that's amazing in its own right. I don't think I've ever talked to a tag team that's really started their career together and working their way up and through the whole thing side by side. That's totally amazing for me as a fan hearing that. But now, I'm getting why you guys are so fluid and all of that. But have you ever been singles wrestler, ever once kind of split apart and tried the singles wrestling thing, first off? And have you gone against each other in front of a crowd? Am I wrong to saying that you guys going against each other was probably more behind closed doors during training?
Yeah, we've wrestled each other countless amount of times, and that's how you build chemistry, I think. But, of course, I've been friends 20 years, so of course we have chemistry with each other. But, yeah, we've done single shit, both of us.
There was a time that I stepped away from wrestling for 2 or 3 years. And during that time, my brother got to step in the ring with some heavy hitters during his days at Fighting Spirit Wrestling. The time that he shared with the House of Pain during that time. So they got to experience a lot of the same things with him. And then when I returned to wrestling, I had a little spell on my own. Most recently in 2019, I had a little spell on my own, and he as well. But other than here and there, little short periods of time, everything we've done has pretty much been together. And to that point, even when we do things on our own, the other one of us is not very far behind. I could always depend on the fact that if I am in a situation that I'm in trouble, the superstar is not that far away.
Now, you guys have been friends, it seems, for obviously as long as your career plus some. Did you guys go to school together and all of that? Did you grow up together, or how did this kind of friendship come together? If you don't mind, I mean.
I don't think we've ever told the story.
21 years ago, we were only like 14 years old. So, we went to different schools. We lived in different areas and shit, but we were cool.
I like to chalk it up as a chance meeting. I happen to be the friend of Whiplash's stepbrother at the time, let's just say. And it was just a chance introduction. Yeah. And we actually always joke that...
actually, it was funny. We didn't think we were going to get along.
We joke between each other. We joke with each other that because I guess that similar attitude that we share, a little bit standoffish, you know what I'm talking about, Don. When we put for each other, I think it was like two positive or negative ends of a magnet trying to be put together. You know, they just kind of push away from each other. And but within a few days, that changed very fast.
Yeah, and it was over after that.
We pretty much became, as we like to say, like the crossed fingers almost instantly.
Wow. So the chemistry was already built as friendship. Now you get into the wrestling portion of your lives because, a lot of people say they want, especially, that you go in when you're younger most times. But when you're younger, you go and you want to be a wrestler. You expect one thing, and then when you get there, it's probably not what you thought. You guys going into wrestling at the same time, did you both have that passion for like, you know what? This is exactly what we've wanted to do, both of us. Did you find that in your friendship watching the WWE and all of these guys growing up at the same time and wanting to be wrestlers, or how did that kind of come about?
Actually, we were real big ECW fans.
True.
Oh,
And
We were very much a part of the tape trading generation.
yeah, that's
When it came to like you said, you grew up in the late '90s. ECW really was a big impact on us, and including who we eventually tried to form our personalities to be, and as we got older. But we were into everything from lucha libre to Japanese wrestling. I was always a big fan of European wrestling, Canadian style of wrestling. I'm a big catch wrestling fan, and I grew up on 80s NWA wrestling. Is really more my cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? While I know a lot of the audience might lean toward that WWF, which was also a part. But the point is that we were very much consumers of every flavor of wrestling, as much wrestling as we can consume. I think as long as I can remember, we've always tried to consume as much variety of wrestling as we possibly can.
Now, Mr. Cage said that he's a fan of the Canadian, the catches can catch, if you will. Mr. Superstar, do you have a favorite flavor, as Mr. Cage shared with us?
I'm a big lucha libre fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like every style I do.
Let me give it to you like this.
Things, you know what I mean?
Let me give it to you like this. You're wearing your Man the House of Pain shirt. You see your boy Nick Payne. He's pretty agile for a man of his size. Well,
Yes.
I'd like to give 100% credit to the man standing right here for everything you see where Nick Payne razzles and dazzles you. You know what I'm talking about?
Mr. Payne and Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali does a tope suicida. Are you shitting me? I mean, come on.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Holy shit. A tope suicida from Mr. Hakim Ali totally blows my mind as a fan every single time. Holy shit. See, I just said holy shit 3 times in a row. Just envisioning him doing it, it's like, wow. Because I've said this to the big guys before. It only takes 1 or 2 moves in your move set, and they don't have to be off the top rope. They don't have to be some crazy 450 splash or anything like that. But if a big guy does maybe 1 or 2 moves in a match that he's not supposed to, holy shit, do we the fans just pop like an MF. We're so easy. You guys know that. I mean, we're easy as F. So when I see a guy, Mr. Ali size, do a tope suicida, I mean, I lose my absolute shit. And I'm not the only one. Let me tell you in that crowd.
I mean, listen, we like to throw a lot of jabs. We like to give him a lot of shit. But the fact is that Hakeem, Nick, they're amazing athletes. For, like I said, a man his size, the things that Hakeem can do, coupled with his amazing power, the likes of which I have never felt from anyone else personally in that ring.
That's just not even fair.
I know exactly what Hakeem is all about. But like you said, if we could get a little real about it, you see a lot of big guys today doing a lot of things that maybe they should or should not be doing. When once in a while you get a guy like Hakeem and he shows his agility by pulling off something amazing here and there, it's a beautiful thing and it's something to behold. But when you see it, constantly over and over again,
right?
And you got a guy that's 7 foot tall and 300 pounds trying to wrestle like he's 5'6" and 195. There's something wrong there, in my opinion.
Right. Again, because we all like our own favorite, and wrestling gives us so many palettes, if you will, because like you were stating, the Canadian, the Japanese, you have the Lucha Libre, and there are so many to go on and on. I mean, there's tribal nations that have wrestling we've never even seen in our life before. I mean, for real, I've seen a couple of the names, but I've never seen, the wrestling style, if you will. But man, wrestling has evolved over time, just like, just like life, just like anything else. But man, wrestling way back in the black and white days, if you will, the BC days that I like to say to my mom and pops, the BC days before color. Never. But that classical stuff, it was, if there was a match between, and it only took two guys, there would be people coming from a long distances. We're talking like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people would show up to one match. But that one match, we're talking it could last up to an hour, maybe even longer. And it was a spectacle to behold, if you will, way back then in those times. Wrestling has totally evolved. Characters, fans, oh my God, fans have totally evolved through time. You guys know that as well as I do. My whole point of this jabbering here, the evolution of wrestling, what have you guys really grasped on? Because you have your own separate flavors, if you will. But when you guys are sitting down and you're trying to get your characters, your set together and to present what you want to give us, the fans, who were you looking at for a tag team? Because those things really, really intrigue me. And I've heard, the Hart Foundation. I've heard the Rockers, some of those kind of same names. And I'm not saying you don't have to name those same names, but I know you guys have got like a ball of wax that you've always studied. Please share with us, the fans, some of those fine names.
Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard.
Oh, man.
Midnight Express. Rock and Roll Express.
The best.
I personally like Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen.
Ooh. I'm down.
Like you said, the Hart Foundation.
SAT, can't forget.
Yeah, but that was later.
Well, yeah, you know. See, even like you said, Don, even till this day, you always gotta go back and you gotta do your homework, because that's the only way you're gonna learn the things that, with all due respect, pro wrestling in 2020 doesn't teach you. So, like the brother said, when we go back, the top of my list is the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express. I could watch that for hours. I have watched that for hours. I have absolutely studied and studied and studied. But he's right. We were always a fan, and you might know that from seeing us in person, a little bit more of a fan of the rough and rugged kind of style in the ring as well. So while a lot of people might have like teams like the Hart Foundation and things like that growing up, I turned more to the NWA style just because, to me it was a little more of presented as a sport. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, Japanese wrestling did the same exact thing. And that European catch style, the same thing. So these are a lot of the reasons why we were drawn to these things, because I guess we felt that it represented more of what we wanted to be. And even now, still to this day, you go back and you watch some of the stuff that they gave you back then, and the knowledge is invaluable.
Mm-hmm. And I correlate music and wrestling is so much. I've done the music thing, but now that I'm into the wrestling thing, what I like to say is that the guitar neck is a never-ending learning tool. You can never finish learning that sucker. Same thing with wrestling. I think this thing just keeps going and going and going forever. I don't think you can ever really get every single facet of wrestling under your belt. You can try like hell. I've seen, obviously we see the ones that do it get on a different platform and such, and the way they present themselves. But I don't think you can ever learn everything in wrestling. But I have a question for you guys, because again, you came in together, you trained together. I feel that you're probably one of the most truest, I have to say, and I hope the House of Pain don't fucking stomp me the next time I see him. I feel that you have to be one of the truest tag teams that I've ever talked with, just because of that fact of coming in together, training together, and all of that, even going against one another. That's something that you have to have, I believe. You have to have in your bag in your resume, if you will, because if you don't know what your tag team partner feels like in the ring, you kind of don't know how he truly acts, if you will, in that ring. Am I wrong on saying that? Is that why you kind of guys felt that kind of part of it out right there?
1,000%. I'm with you, bro.
We we pride ourselves a lot on being able to almost know what the other is thinking without having to communicate verbally. And I think most great tag teams, all the great tag teams in history, would probably share the same or a similar type of connection. That connection where, all we have to do is give each other a certain look, and I know if Superstar is going left, I know if he's going right, I know if he's going up or down, and I know how to accommodate him in that way. And vice versa.
Since you guys have been a tag team, I want to say you guys might as well have been a tag team from birth, for crying out loud. Holy crap. But I'm very curious on this question now that I have and I hope HOP don't fuck me up on for saying such. We've got a tag team. Do you find, or I should say, are you both a fan of when, let's say, a bigger platform like WWE? There's a lot of tag teams that we've all known and loved throughout the years. But when they put two guys together randomly, and I'm going to use, I don't know, Jericho and Big Show, Jericho. We'll call Jericho. Are you guys a fan of when they slap two singles wrestlers to kind of do something with, or are you more of a fan of that true, like you were saying, the Arn and Tully? I mean, you can't take nothing away from shit like that. Because now we're seeing like the Miz and Morrison kind of stuff continuing. They're still doing that kind of stuff. But we also saw like Cesaro and Sheamus, and that worked fantastic. When it first started, you were like, what the fuck are they doing? But it seemed to work out pretty well. Enough of me rambling. Are you guys a fan of that stuff?
It depends who they're throwing together. It's like if they have similar styles, or if they have the ability to mesh off of each other and, learn how to get some chemistry going. But usually it's if two people work each other enough, like you said, they learn each other's movements, they learn how to do what the other's going to do, shit like that.
I think you got both sides, right? You got both sides to the debate. There are teams, I think your first example was a great one, Jericho, where you put two guys together and they gel very well, not only in style, maybe in look, maybe in presentation, moveset, whatever. And like you also mentioned, Sheamus and Cesaro, to which after a certain period of time, they start putting the doubts to rest. But my debate to that argument would be, if we're going to list the greatest tag teams of all time right now, Don Kincaid, your 10 greatest, how many of those tag teams would be two singles wrestlers that were put together? Regardless of the fact if they were tag teams that gelled together, learned each other, and ended up becoming great together. But when you start boiling it down to tag teams, how many of those tag teams actually come out on the list of great or the best of all time? So if I had to, I am a fan of when two wrestlers like that. Hey, there's been a lot of combinations over time that you would not guess, the odd couple, if you will, and they turn out to be amazing. They turn out to be very entertaining and everything that comes along with it. However, if you're talking tag team wrestling, for me, I would prefer that classic tag team, that tag team that they're a tag team, they're watching each other's back 24/7, they're traveling together, they're talking wrestling, they're learning wrestling, they're studying wrestling together, because those are the ones that usually top those lists. And at the end of the day, maybe me and the brother might want to top a list one day.
Very fine point, my friend, because as you're speaking about that, I'm thinking of the Revival. When they came in, what they were presented as. It was like a Tully, Arn Anderson kind of representation, if you will, a simulation, and then we seen what all of that shit went down. They always felt underutilized for quite some time now. Then they leave there. Then they kind of named themselves FTR or formerly the Revival, right? FTR. So it's kind of weird where I thought they were going to be like shot to the top. I thought they were going to get this great push where we're going to see, like these two guys that were representing tag team wrestling. I mean, holy crap. And then it kind of turned into what it turned into. So again, as you were speaking, those were the first guys that came to my mind by good tag team wrestlers.
I'm a big fan of FTR. To me, one of the best tag teams, if not arguably the best team in the business. But for all those reasons that you mentioned and we're talking about right now, I think when it came to their run in the WWE, with respect, WWE doesn't, let's say, always know what to do with the type of performer, wrestler, sports entertainer that presents that old school type of, whether it be look or in-ring style. When you go down the list of guys that kind of present that, you get, it's a half and half kind of bowl. You know what I'm saying? So I, like you said, it sucks the way it went down in WWE for the Revival. I'm happy that they're getting the spotlight that they're getting right now because they absolutely deserve it. And I hope and pray that their influence trickles down and helps tag team wrestling as a whole, because their philosophy on tag team wrestling, I like to think, and I hope I can speak for the brother, is one that we very much try to present as well, and we very much believe in. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of play wrestlers out there. I know that term has been used before. And me and the Superstar, we don't play games. Every time you see us and every time we come to Connecticut, every time we show up in PAPW, just know, and that goes for anywhere we go to, just know that our intention is to show you that you may not believe the rest of the show is real, but you're going to believe that we're real.
That's for sure. Now, those guys, specifically the FTR, I thought NWA was absolutely a perfect fit for them. Why they didn't go there, I don't know. Maybe they wanted that stage of the WWE. Again, the money, I'm sure, is a big factor. But then when you get there, sometimes it isn't all what you thought it was going to be. And we've seen that a couple of times. Sami Callihan used to be Solomon Crow. I mean, so I mean, those things happen when you get to that stage. So, I mean, I wasn't in their shoes, so we can just kind of look from the outside. But I think
one thing you could say is that having that experience for all of them, whether it worked out or not when they were there, it did benefit them going forward. Luckily for everything that you just mentioned, they were very much able to capitalize on the experience there and the exposure there. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Sometimes things may not work out where you go and where you work, but the goal should be always to make the most of it. Because if you make the most of your experience, whether you're there for months, a year, whether you come out and you only get 5 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, your goal should be to make them remember you in some way, because it will trickle down and it will help you out down the line.
If you haven't, for the boys and girls that are out there, if you haven't listened to Talk is Jericho with FTR, check it out, man. I listened to it on a road trip up to Massachusetts when it first came out. And I'm telling you, what Mr. Kage is talking about is 1,000% true, because of what they were trying to present tag team wrestling in WWE. It was almost like the gold was secondary. They wanted tag team wrestling to be lifted, and it wasn't being lifted primarily. They just wanted to give them the straps, and they were like, F the straps. If you're just going to do this just to give us the straps and, kind of give us a bone for a couple months, we don't want them. We want to elevate tag team wrestling. So that was their message, and I didn't mean to kind of give you a spoiler, but that was just a piece of what they said on that podcast, and you should really check that out if you're into listening to the podcast.
I've actually heard the podcast, but you're absolutely right. That's what it's all about, and that's what it should be all about. At the end of the day, they're trying to accomplish a mission, and if tag team wrestling as a whole, or in that case, if their division can be elevated, every tag team as a whole, then it creates a whole lot more opportunities for every tag team involved, not just the one.
And it gives you better people to work with. Everybody feels the same way. Some people feel like they just want to be the champ. Well, if you're killing it, if you're having the best matches on the show and shit like that, then really being the champion doesn't mean shit. You got a whole bunch of other people who do having better matches than you.
You know for a fact, Don, that there are some people that need the championship belt to be who they are. And then you got some people that don't. You got some people that holding the championship elevates the championship. That is what tag team wrestling. It used to be a time where tag team wrestling headlined professional wrestling, was a star attraction. FTR, I believe, are fighting for that cause, for that to be something that exists once again. I very much believe in that. I support that very much.
Now, I'd kind of like to spin it back around on Zoltan. Please, I should have started. I should have started with this question because it's been in the back of my one little brain cell. Please tell us what's with the name Zoltan, and a second part of that question. Previous to this name Zoltan, was there a character or gimmick, if you will, pre-Zoltan, or has it always been Zoltan? And if there was, please tell us it was some kind of maybe rockers with the tassels, or the young, the young bucks way back then when they were like Gen Me or something crazy. Please, I hope there's a story like that. Share with us, the fans, if you could.
Some stuff I ain't never told before. All right. Well, I think for a lot of people, first of all, at the mention of the name Zoltan, and if you think about it for any amount of time, if you've ever, if you're a fan of the movies, a certain movie might come to mind. Certain movie called Dude, Where's My Car? In all honesty, the name Zoltan for us started off as something that we just thought was a joke, and thought was something that in its inception we didn't take very seriously at all. The conversation was something along the lines of, it would be funny if we called ourselves Zoltan. And then after minutes of laughing, we kind of got serious and said, what if we called ourselves Zoltan? Wow. Kind of got you got the built-in hand symbol. You know what I'm talking about? You had a little shortcuts that you could work in there that we thought people might get into. The movie was hot at the time. We're young, impressionable teenagers. We thought that it might work. And, to our benefit, it has to a degree. So, but to answer your question and to talk some stuff I ain't never talked about, I think.
Mr. Superstar is laughing the whole time as I brought this question to the table.
And what's funny is that I like to bring out the fact that while the Zoltan might be wearing the hottest merch going today, you notice that the Superstar is wearing red and the absolute Kris Kage is wearing blue. And it kind of goes back to how we started, because the first time the Superstar and I got together, we had this idea of being identical in a similar way you see us today. When you see us today, we look almost like separated twins at birth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
But at that time, the idea was, what if we do that, but everything we do, color scheme, is opposite. And I very much always represented the blue of the side, and Mike was the red. You know what I'm saying? And it's old shit. And I'm going to say something I ain't never said on camera before in my life. Don Kincaid getting the exclusive footage right here.
Yeah, man.
We try to go with the name Satan's Angels. Huh?
Oh.
Remember that? Woo! We try to go with the name Satan's Angels when we were young. You know, two
shit.
rebellious, wanting to fight the system, raging against the machine type of young kids. You know what I'm saying? But
That is old shit.
especially in the 2020 climate, that might not be the most marketable way to go. You know what I'm talking about? I think we're lucky for the fact that we decided to lean toward the Zoltan.
Right now.
First off, thank you for sharing. That's what sirs, both of you. That's what I love about this show. Hopefully, when I ask these questions, hopefully we can get a little bit of that info because I love hearing that kind of stuff.
Well, that was the first time I ever told that story.
Yeah.
It may be the last. So if you're not watching Stirring the Pot, they're a little assed out. You know what I'm talking about?
The Zoltan.
Right there.
Now, as a collective, Zoltan's been together for 21 years, you've said. Do you guys see a stop anytime soon? Or are you just going to take this until you just kind of can't?
You don't stop till you get to the top, Don. Come on, baby.
All right.
The question is.
Well, you never know because some have a goal set. You know, maybe in 5 years or in 10 years, if I'm not, at X level or at X place, then I might think about it, So you never know. People have different goals.
I mean, if we're being realistic, life is life, and you never know what tomorrow brings. You never know how that aspect of the game goes in terms of what we do in the ring and in terms of what we do in the business. My brother and I are unified, and we've always been unified. We're as unified now as we always been. In terms of goals and aspirations, I have aspirations of doing things on my own. My brother does as well. But our tag team is always a part of our plan. And I believe that is something that you could balance both. It has been proven by many people that have paved the way. You know what I'm saying? We have taken time away from tag teaming to focus on those things at times. I'm sure we'll do it again in the future at times. But as of right now, at this moment, our plan is very much full steam ahead as a tag team. When the world comes back from the horrible situations that we've been experiencing, I like to say with confidence that you, Don, are going to see a Zoltan like you've never seen us before. And if you think we were a problem before, just wait till what we got in store for you.
Wow. With those words being said, do you feel that Zoltan is right now like the best shape of your life, the best mindset of your life? Are you in your prime right now? Like, I mean, there's still years to go with Zoltan. Where are you guys feeling right now?
Well, you know what? I think that, and I'm going to let the brother take it in a second, but real quick, I just want to say that the one thing I think we have as a benefit is our experience. We have been in the game for a hot little spell, and I think that gives us a leg up on a lot of tag teams, especially, like you said, a lot of tag teams that may not have a lot of experience together as a team. So there are a couple teams like the House of Pain and a couple of others that we would love to step into the ring with again, but it's gonna get real serious when things come back, brother.
We really don't care, like, which team it is, who, doesn't matter. Anybody that stands across the ring from us is going to be in for a fucked up night. I'll tell you that.
Don likes that.
Man. I think that might be the name of this episode. You might be in for a fucked up night. I think we'll just call it that.
I like that.
I try to name each episode differently, and I think I just got the tagline right there, my friend.
Because it's based on a true story.
Oh, wow. Man, you guys, again, I grasped right onto you guys, man. The look, the words, the impact in the ring, everything that you presented as wrestlers, I'm like right with, man. And then I seen you guys like wrestle, and I'm like, Pop, these guys are the fucking legit shit. Why aren't they on a different platform, being NWA, NXT? Why? What the fuck is going on? Especially, and I know you might not have the answers, but you might. I don't know. But why at this point in your career, why are you not on a bigger stage with a bigger spotlight? You two need to be in that type of platform. In my eyes, as a fan, just seeing you maybe even the first 2 times, and I've seen you maybe, I'd say 4 times as a total, and that's not a lot to see wrestlers in the ring. But just the first couple, I'm like, why aren't these guys on a bigger stage? What's going on, man?
Thank you, Don.
Again, appreciate it, like the brother said. But we believe that everything comes with time and with work. And just because something hasn't happened yet, Don, doesn't mean that it isn't yet to happen. I think with the way things are set up a lot today, a lot of people are used to getting things everything is give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, very fast. Everybody wants their results instantly. And me and my brother don't mind working for what we got. And we don't mind the journey along the way and all the bumps, bruises, and hardships, because we know that when it's all said and done, we're going to be proud of what we did. When it comes to being on a different platform, like you said, you can never know. And you can never know what happens in the future. I will admit that, in our younger years, like we've mentioned before, we may have had attitudes that were a little standoffish. And, sometimes you don't navigate your life or your career or your attitude in a way that allows you to play well with others. But with experience and as you get older and as you learn more, that all starts to change. So, like you said, I think when it comes to mindset, me and my brother are at a place where we are stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than we have ever been. And I think everything happens for a reason. I think everything happens when it's supposed to happen. And I think it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen for my brother and I. Because when it does, we're going to be ready for it.
That's for sure. That is for certain. You guys ever get that call? Whoever starts getting on the opposite side of the ring from these guys, just be ready, because they really bring a big package to the ring. Now, I'm very curious. I know you're from NYC. I've seen it in a different couple companies. Some not geared up, some geared up. Where do you guys call home base, please? Because I'm very curious, and I'm a little confused. Where do you guys call home base?
I don't like to use the term home base.
Oh.
For me, that's a problem right there. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you are on a platform that you are being broadcast on national television every week, then you may have the right to call your place your home. But in terms of getting to that level, the idea is to get in front of as many eyes as you can, in as many places as you can. Like you said, NYC is always home. Most recently, we were coming out of the Bronx Wrestling Federation. But as you know, we have come to PAPW many times. We have challenged for those World Tag Team Championship. We come from WXWC4 in Allentown, PA, where we are the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. We have been all up and down the East Coast. That is what it's all about. We're going to invade the West Coast coming very soon, and everywhere in between.
Wow.
If you got a home base, my advice would be to put your big boy pants on and step out of your comfort zone.
Fine message. Now, let's talk about the gold, because I know there is no way that currently Zoltan is not holding gold. And if I am wrong, I'm going to kick myself in the ass. Are you guys current tag team champions in any companies right now?
Well, let's just say that we were on the road to earning tag team championship gold before everything kind of went to shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But much like we were talking about earlier, you know, you got some people that need the gold to be who they are. And Don, you know from experience that that does not describe him or that does not describe me.
Nope.
Now, elaborate that a little bit because I'm in the mood. I don't know what it is. I like talking trash. This is stirring the pot, and I want to stir the pot. Before this is over, I want to stir the pot. And just like we were talking about before, coming back to NYC, and anybody that gets in the way in NYC, you're going down because we're going for tag team gold wherever we go to. If and when we show up in PAPW, I only pray that the gold is around the House of Pain's waist because we want a taste of that one more time. And I would love for it to be the House of Pain that eats that 1, 2, 3 to crown this man and myself the tag team championship of Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling.
And as we've been saying this whole time, it doesn't really matter about gold or not. It's about who's best one's there. So I know for a fact that at PAPW, all there is the House of Pain. So whether or not they're the tag team champions, House of Pain. Take that fucking shirt off.
Yeah, I think Don needs some new merch, man. Sorry.
Go.
Well, you know,
Don, what you like, blue or red? What you like?
I don't know, but man, Mr. Superstar really scared the fucking bejesus out of me. So, I should probably put something else on. I mean, that would. Oh, I got one for you. I think you guys are gonna like this one. Let me change this. Okay, hold on. I know it's not tag team related, but I think you'll enjoy this way better than the House of Pain. I believe so. And I'm sorry I took off on you there, but I got the new Karen Bam Bam merch, Squish-a-Bish Express. I love Karen Bam Bam, and I know you guys got a little love for Karen Bam Bam, no?
I can support the Karen Bam Bam
That's what I'm talking about.
much better than the House of Pain. I'd just like to ask you a question. Would we be the first people to make you change your shirt live on the air?
Actually, yes. To be honest, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Good. I hope House of Pain watches this.
Damn. I'll have to tell him, I'll have to say, hey, we had a fine conversation. You were mentioned many, many a time, but please go to about marker 56. You're going to love it. Ooh, man, no, never. I never did, I don't think. Oh, you know what? You know what I have done, though? I've worn 2 shirts and taken off said shirt to have basically the same shirt on underneath. The same shirt on. No, never mind. It was funny for me, but yeah, you get no. But anywho, you know, out of NYC, I've been down to that BWF. That place is fucking crazy. Holy cow! I'm used to a different crowd, and like I've said before, wrestling in different places is a little bit different. As you were stating, the European, the Japanese, the Mexican, all of it, it's all different styles. But dude, I am telling you, excuse me, BWF is crazy over there. It's a whole different like scene or something. Because not only is it in a big giant ass like second floor of an industrial building that's a fitness center, but it's set off in the corner of the room itself. And you go through the curtain, and man, the music is kicking. The lights are going. The place was absolutely sold out last time that I went when Dominic De Niro won the championship off of TJ Marconi. What a fantastic show that was. Holy shit. That place is nuts, man. And I know I'm getting a little amped up here, but do you find that the fans differ, and obviously from BWF and anywhere else, but do you find that fans differ from place to place, not only from state to state?
Not so much because we're awesome. So they like us no matter what happens. Whether or not we're heels, faces, whatever. You know what I mean? You can't fight it.
Well,
just like you said, Don, you've seen us wrestle 4 times. And you're a fan. Commercial.
When you came to the Bronx Wrestling Federation and you got a taste of that atmosphere, I like to attribute that to the fact that you were getting a little taste of that New York flavor. You know what I'm talking about? And while the superstar may be 1,000% correct, it doesn't change no matter where the Zoltan goes, because it's a power you just can't fight. I know what you mean when you talk about the crowds. And in my opinion, it's just because they're conditioned. Sometimes you go to different parts of the country and you get a different flavor of audience member because you get a different flavor of wrestling. Not every territory, not every state you go to, not every show you go to is going to present the same style or the same variety that the next one might. And while I know you're very much used to a very certain type of style and flavor and personality in Connecticut, you saw when you came down to New York City, you had a very mixed bag of the Bronx Wrestling Federation likes to offer you lucha libre. They like to offer you that street style brawling. They like to offer you some pro wrestling, good old-fashioned mat wrestling technician style. You get everything in New York City. I love that about New York. I love that about being home. And it's actually one of the reasons why we joined the Bronx Wrestling Federation, because of that variety. It gives us a whole variety of type of talent to put as victims on the list. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I'm going to bring up a name because we love him. You guys don't really care for him much. Don't know why. He's a good guy. Brother Greatness. What the hell happened with Brother Greatness?
Do without the fucking Brother Greatness.
I mean, we saw you guys were very nice to Brother Greatness. What's going on there?
You want to know something funny, Don?
Tell him.
I kind of trained Brother Greatness too.
Like, are you shitting me? What's going on in my world right now? It's spinning.
What's going on in your world is the fact that my brother has given birth to a lot of the talent that you love up there in Connecticut.
So what happened with Brother Greatness was, Brother Greatness is pretty over there in the Bronx Wrestling Federation, right? So what happens? You want to make an impact somewhere. You go after the big fish. Brother Greatness got to go.
How is it different from when we showed up to Paradise Alley and we made the targets the House of Pain, because we knew if you're walking into Paradise Alley and you want to make a statement, I know who to walk up and I know whose face I got to smack. The Bronx Wrestling Federation is no different. And my problem stems a little deeper with Brother Greatness. In the past year, in 2019, me and Brother Greatness went back and forth a little bit. We traded championships back and forth at the end of 2019. And it was because of the fact that while my brother may have trained him back in the day, may have been the one that set him on his path, that you and so many others admire so much, in my opinion, he has fallen from grace. In my opinion, he's not exactly the person that we set him out to be. He's a little soft in my book, if you ask me, Don.
Wow.
But with all due respect, Paradise Alley and everyone in Connecticut is used to embracing soft dudes.
Well, I mean, he's not squishy. Is that what? No, never mind. You know what I like to do is sometimes I'm able to get a little fun out of this before we get out of here. You guys have been all over the place, especially together as a tag team. That's very evident. Is there any, maybe even two, if you'd like to share? There has got to be at least one, if not two again, some funny ha-ha road story that you could share with us, the fans. It could have been on the road specifically. It could have been at a rest stop. It could have been at a Waffle House after a show. It could have been anything that you guys, and then I see a couple smiles there. Yeah, please share with us, the fans, because we love that shit.
Yeah,
we stopped at a gas station one time, and actually we had got lost this day too. Like we were on the road, we got lost, but we stopped at a gas station, and one of the guys that was in the van with us was on the phone, and he was taking a little bit too long for our liking. So, right then and there, right in the gas station, got out of the car, gave him the realest Stone Cold Stunner I've ever done, ever, at the gas station.
In the gas station.
And just got back in the van. And like nothing happened.
That is a true story.
It was great.
Did he get in the van after, or was he like fucking knocked out?
Yeah, you have to find the phone and shit though. Like, I got to the phone, but.
Oh man.
You got a whole lot of things that happen on the road. One thing about on the road is, and I know a lot of our colleagues, a lot of our brothers would attest to this, that sometimes being on the road is the most fun experience of what we do. You know, sharing those relationships with the people you work with.
Yeah.
Makes all the nonsense you go trying to become successful in this, the nonsense you go through worth it. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, from beating up guys at rest stops to having friends having to swallow drugs so guys don't get arrested, you know, that might be.
Dude, that's a wild story there.
You just. No, I actually thought you don't have to use names. Could you?
Wild time. All right,
but, you want to give it to him? You could just change the names, baby.
All right, look, check it out, man. I'm not gonna say anybody's name.
You want to stir the pot with Don Kincaid? You got to give him this.
All right, fine. I'm not gonna say anybody's name. Anyway, we were wrestling upstate. You ever heard of Mechanicsville, New York?
No.
All right, yeah, me neither until that day. But, motherfucker, we were there. We go wrestle the show. We come back. We leave the show, right? Now coming back. I don't know, there's a lot of people that's 420 friendly. But anyway, we had some stuff. Hello. Oh, we got booted.
I'm so... No.
Anyway, got too raw for it.
In the car, we had some stuff going, you know what I mean? Partying, smoking some stuff. And we were speeding pretty heavy. And we noticed that there was a cop up ahead of us. So we tried not to get in front of said cop, but he slammed on the brakes and got behind us anyway. Pulls us over, and the dude in the back had some drugs.
Let's call him Tom.
And while the cop was talking to the driver, he decided he was going to eat it. and the cop kind of seen him, so he got pretty upset, and he went over to where he was and he started screaming at him, and the kid was like, I don't know what's going on. It was the best shit ever. And so he took him out of the car, then went back to talking to the driver, found he had a fake ID, put him in handcuffs, took him out of the car. Now, I live in New York City. I don't fucking drive.
No.
So now I'm stuck with these dudes. And God wants to know where the weed is. It was not a fun time. But, if I'm not mistaken, one of them had like a family member that was a police officer and got us out of it. But yeah, it was a scary time.
Let's just say it was.
I had fun though.
It was not the best ride home.
I was in trouble. I had fun.
Well, thank you both for sharing, because, you know, hanging out at a show, and I know that, you know, we don't chit chat a whole lot, but when we do, we wouldn't hear stuff like these stories. So I thank you both for sharing those kind of stories with us, the fans, because that's what this show is for. It's definitely not for me. That's for goddamn sure. This is for the fans, so they get to know some of that fine talent that's out there, some of the promotions that they work for. But before I do let you go, and again, I thank you so much for sharing, because not everybody wants to share. I tell you that. So you guys were amazing on that. That was fantastic. Before we do get out of here, though, where can we find Zoltan or you guys separately? Do you have the face page, YouTube, Instagram, you name it, whatever you guys want to push, please give us those links because we want to find you guys.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, the Twitter. We're on all of those bad boys. You could look for us. You got me at Absolute Kage on Twitter, on Instagram, and at Kris Kage on Facebook, the superstar.
Superstar Whiplash at Instagram. I don't really do Twitter too much, but I got one anyway. Superstar Whiplash. And you can check us out also on Instagram. We got a tag team thing. Check out the Zoltan Army of Two.
Zoltan _ Army of Two, baby. Look for it.
And if you just type in on the face page the word Zoltan, I know you'll get some stuff that's not wrestling related.
That's
but
right.
within those first couple things, you don't have to look far. Their page is right there within the first couple things. So
all you gotta do is look for the left hand on top, baby. That's all you're looking for. There you go, Don.
I don't know why. I'm not that bright. So I've always been told that, well, for the most part, that I'm built like a candle. I only weigh about 35 pounds. And
he kind of does look like the candle from the Beauty and the Beast movie.
Yeah. from the Beauty and the Beast. That's a good one. That's a good one. But
kind of a BR thing going on. You know what I'm saying?
But my point being is, I don't have the balls or the physique to get in that ring. So me as a fan, my friends, I thank you so much for doing what you do, because it's not all fun and games in there. It takes a lot, and I do mean a lot of experience, time, sacrifice, time away from your family and your loved one and stuff like that. And sometimes you lose jobs. There's so much that goes into being a wrestler. So from me as a fan and all of us, I'll speak for all of us. Thank you both for what you do and the sacrifices and all of that good shit that come with being a wrestler. I thank you, sir.
I thank you for appreciating that, Dom. You know, you don't get to hear that very often. You know, you get guys that, you know, they love you, they hate you, but you don't get too much appreciation, at least verbally. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, man. A man of few words, I must say. But, you know, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. You know what? I thought it was going to be a rougher ride because I usually tend to hit the nerves a little bit more when I'm at these shows, and I bring in the heels or the villains, if you will, because that's how I know you guys. And I kind of use that gimmick, if you will. We turn on that switch, you know, the switch that we talk about. I turn on that switch, and I usually kind of get a little more static sometimes with the villains, if you will. But you guys have been absolutely fantastic. True to your craft, true to your characters, because, hey, there is no fucking characters. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for spending the time with us. And, you know, and with the time that we got going on, and I usually start every single episode lately, I didn't even ask both of you, which I'm going to kick myself in the ass for. Damn, anyways, because with everything going on with this whole COVID, never mind. This whole virus thing we've got going on, it's a serious gig. And you guys are in NYC. Are you guys okay? Your circle, your family, all of that good stuff, because, man, it's a hotbed down there.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy out here. It's not so bad now like it was, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, I'm good, though. My family's good. Thank you for asking, sir.
Yeah, you know, things, this is one of those ever-changing situations. So, you know, you don't know how this thing is going to go from day to day. But thankfully, at least in our circles, personally, everyone's been okay. Everyone's been, you know, nothing to really worry about. And hopefully it stays that way. And, you know, hopefully this thing goes, you know, away and things get back to normal as soon as possible. Because at the end of the day, not only do we want to get back to doing what we do and having fun, but we want to just go back to living life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. This whole thing has been totally just insane. It's been absolutely insanity going around. Everything that's circling around it, and damn, it's been crazy. I didn't mean to kind of bring it down a little bit, but usually I didn't want to forget to ask you guys because
we gonna turn it back up before we end this one time, Don.
Yeah, please. What I like to end with is there a message from both of you separately together to your peers, fans, your opponents that you have in the future, promotions that you have in your mind? Is there a message that Zoltan would like to give us before we get out of here?
Last words, brother.
First off, thank you, Don. It's been a privilege to sit here and talk shit with you. To promotions who I know that you know, because you know a lot of people. Book the Zoltan, you know what I'm saying? If you want to do that, trust me.
Zoltan _ Army of Two.
And yeah, to people that possibly might stand across the ring from us, you know, good luck. Because with the way shit is going and the way our lives are and the way, you know, like you said, you never know what the fuck is gonna happen. I'm coming harder than I've ever, you know what I mean? Like it's all different.
Don, you know, you said you like to flavor this up, and I can't help but feel remiss if I don't stir the pot a little bit, as we are stirring the pot with the great Don Kincaid. So I'm gonna end it for you like this, like the brother said. If you want tag team wrestling and you want tag team wrestling that matters and is legit, you book the Zoltan. You want a message to the fans? My message to you fans is very simple. If we show up somewhere and you got a top tag team and you got a favorite tag team, if you got a tag team that you wear their t-shirt and you like their autographed pictures, the superstar and myself are coming to walk up to them, look at them in the face, and smack them right in front of that crowd, in front of every single one of y'all, so we know that we're not playing. And last but not least, Don Kincaid, I'm not stupid. I know what area, what region, what territory you come from. And while I know many eyes like to stir the pot with Don Kincaid, I know who's going to be watching this particular show. I know the people that are going to be watching this particular show, and I know the tag teams that are going to be watching this particular show. You know, throughout this, we stirred the pot and we threw a lot of jabs at the House of Pain. And yeah, we like to play around. But understand, like you mentioned earlier, this is not a joke to me. And if House of Pain, you give us the chance one more time, we will show you why this business between us will be not finished until we say it is finished. When we show back up to PAPW, I'm coming and I'm going to smack you in the face one more time. Hakeem, Nick, and anybody else that wants to back them. Before you know it, I'm going to have everyone switching their t-shirt. And that's just the beginning. Most recently, I stated that I would start calling tag teams out by name when wrestling comes back to the world, and when it comes to your specific territory, House of Pain, I'm calling you out. And if you got the balls to step out of your comfort zone, I'm inviting you to New York City. Don, why don't you jump in the van, bring your camera, and come down to the Bronx Wrestling Federation. Let's do it on their turf. Let's do it on our turf. You know why? Because the House of Pain claims that they are tag team wrestling, but they also claim that they're from New York City. So why don't you come back home, and why don't you prove it in front of the people that matter, in front of the people that know what's real and what's not, in front of the people that know who's legit and who's not. House of Pain, bottom line, Don, if they don't watch it, if they don't see it, you got the task of going to tell them, I'm calling both of you out.
I will do that. I'm sure they'll be paying attention to this because I'm always told you never know who's watching. But if anybody's watching this specific episode, it's definitely going to be the House of Pain. The House of Pain. You can't say the House of Pain. Like you can't say the Zoltan. You really shouldn't. It should just be Zoltan, and they are the House of Pain. Enough of that. You guys, wow. What a message sent. I heard it loud and clear. If the House of Pain doesn't, that's on them. But they better be careful because this is going to turn very volatile very quick. With all of that said, we've been running an hour, 20 minutes with Zoltan. I could go for another hour and 20 minutes, but who the hell wants to hear me keep yakking and yakking? So with that said, thank you so much to the Zoltan. This is Stirring the Pot with Doc Kincaid and my very special guests, Superstar Whiplash and the absolute Kris Kage, collectively known as Zoltan. Thank you so much.